Canada could have 102,000 fewer jobs. The United States could be down 214,000 jobs, more than twice Canada's projected loss. That is the warning in a major new report examining what could happen if CUSMA completely breaks down. These are not 316,000 layoffs happening tomorrow. They are projections for 2027, measured against the current tariff-heavy status quo. But the numbers show how much damage a complete collapse of North American free trade could cause. The United States refused to approve a new 16-year extension of CUSMA during the July review. However, the agreement has not ended. It remains active, but now moves into annual reviews unless Canada, the United States, and Mexico eventually agree to extend it. That uncertainty matters. Businesses planning new factories, equipment purchases, supply chains, and hiring must now consider whether the trading rules could change again next year. Canadian and American officials are trying to map out a possible trade agreement. Canada and United States Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc and Chief Negotiator Janice Charette are meeting U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer in Washington. Reports suggest negotiators hope to place a potential proposal before President Donald Trump as early as Monday. They are racing toward August 19th, when new 50% U.S. tariffs are scheduled to hit selected Canadian goods. The targeted products range from alcohol and hockey sticks to cement. These duties can apply even when the products otherwise qualify under CUSMA. Energy, potash, fish, and critical minerals are among the exclusions. The tariffs do not cover every Canadian export, and August 19th is not the day CUSMA automatically dies. It is, however, the next major escalation in a trade dispute that could push both countries closer to the breakdown scenario economists are warning about. The Canadian-American Business Council asked Oxford Economics to model 3 possible futures. The first is the status quo, where the current tariff situation continues. The second is a successful renegotiation that extends CUSMA and removes most tariffs. Compared with the status quo, this outcome could support 98,000 additional Canadian jobs and 137,000 additional American jobs in 2027. The third scenario is a complete CUSMA breakdown, with broad tariffs spreading across most goods. Under that outcome, Canada would have 102,000 fewer jobs and the United States would have 214,000 fewer jobs. Canada's projected unemployment rate would rise from 6.5% under the status quo to 7% under a breakdown. Inflation would reach 2.6% in Canada and 2.4% in the United States. Ontario and Quebec are especially exposed because of their automobile, steel, aluminum, and machinery industries. But the losses would spread beyond factory gates. Trucking, construction, engineering, finance, retail, restaurants, and other local businesses could all feel the slowdown as companies invest less and households spend less. American workers would not be protected from that damage. Canadian materials and components are deeply embedded in U.S. supply chains. Taxing those inputs raises costs for American manufacturers and can make American products more expensive and less competitive. Compared with the status quo, the report projects that a CUSMA breakdown would erase approximately $271 billion Canadian dollars from Canadian economic output and more than $1 trillion from U.S. output between 2026 and 2035. This is not simply Canada against the United States, with one country winning whatever the other loses. After decades of integrated production, a trade wall would hit both economies, both groups of workers and consumers on both sides of the border. The report is an economic model, not a guaranteed prediction. Its findings depend on assumptions about tariffs, retaliation, exemptions, and how businesses respond. Negotiators can still change the direction of this dispute. But the warning is clear. Canada would experience the deeper impact relative to the size of its economy, while the United States would lose more jobs in raw numbers. The decisions made before and after August 19th could determine whether North America moves toward a new trade agreement or toward a shared economic and employment shock. For continuing coverage of the Canada and United States trade negotiations, follow Weekly Voice and visit weeklyvoice.com.